welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's Pageantry, and for this episode, let's talk about the postponement of Miss World 2021. So please make sure you stick around, please subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant fix. So before I start this episode, I just want to check in on you. I hope that you're okay. I hope that you're safe. The country is experiencing the wrath of Typhoon Odette, and I know that some parts of the country, particularly the South and the Visayas region, they already are experiencing the devastation and the destruction of this strong typhoon. So if you are living in an area which will be hit by this typhoon, please, as early as now, make sure you have the necessary numbers. Make sure that you have the contingency plan to be safe for at least the next few days, and you have your supplies. Make sure that you also get to coordinate with people who could help you out with evacuation should it come to that. And more than anything else, because I am an animal lover, I hope that you have plans, and I hope that your pets are safe as well. So again, just in case you have to come into a really difficult decision of leaving them behind, keep them secure, but make sure that they have a fighting chance to survive by not locking their cages. So Miss World organization finally made an announcement to postpone the final show. Now, this did not come as a surprise, as the past few days has been a series of unfortunate events. But let me go back a bit further than that and also check if we missed some red flags. Now, Miss World started really very early. It started earlier than Miss Grand and Miss Universe. The ladies started leaving their countries as early as November 20. And what I just noticed was that when the ladies arrived in Puerto Rico, it was business as usual. There wasn't any mention of being in isolation or being in quarantine. In fact, our very own Maureen Perez left on November 20th after a 40-hour travel to Puerto Rico. She was dressed and then up and about to do her registrations and to mingle with the ladies. So this was something that we did not notice or did not, pay attention to, because we were so busy with Samantha Panlilio, of course. And we were also so busy watching out for Bea Luigi Gomez, who was about to compete at Miss Universe at that time. So when Tracy left, we knew that it was going to be easy breezy. We didn't really even have a lot of expectations. We just wished that when she arrived in Puerto Rico that she was safe, because even if there was no mention of any isolation or quarantine arrangements, of course they had to be tested. So this was all of our concerns, but we left her there. We didn't really focus much on her because we had so many things on our plate. By about day 2 of the ladies' arrival, the first batch of ladies who arrived already went through registrations, and very early on you could really see them mingling with each other. They stayed on for a series of photo shoots, and by the press conference, and I think this was the only time that I got to see them with their full masks on, it continued up until November 24th when they started filming the head-to-head challenge activities. So what I'm just saying is that the next 2 weeks after the ladies arrived was just a dizzying schedule of activities. And this one ranged from fast track challenges, that sports challenge where you mingle with all the ladies, and dinners, events and functions, and then of course the top model fashion show event, which by around this time we got a little nervous with, because now it's no longer a bubble of the ladies together. Now it's open to a larger crowd, and we saw the ladies parade not just amongst each other, but there were other folks there, like media people, there were fans as well, and there were guests. And we were like, yeah, that seems to be a lot of people, but none of us really raised our concerns, because of course this is happening in Puerto Rico. They might have different protocols in place, and of course this is a huge operation. We did not think that Miss World would be complacent. Anyway, they waited for a full year to have this pageant stage, as they did not host the event last 2020. So of course we were a little bit concerned, but not too much to really, raise the alarm. So we didn't really question this at first, even if we started seeing the photos as well as the videos. So now that we have more time to focus, and now that we have more time to sift through, the photos and the videos that they publish, and now you could really see a pattern. They were all together. None of them were covered up. None of them had any form of protection. Now, of course, now that we're noticing it, it's not like we could have said something back then, because maybe it was just for, just the photo op, when they remove all of these trappings from their faces. But it seems like it's the norm there. It seems like everything is just so normal. So by December 15th, we started receiving reports that one of the representatives, particularly the representative from Indonesia, tested positive. And that, of course, because she tested positive, her roommate, which was Miss India, one of the heavy favorites in the competition, had to be isolated as well. Now, this was further confirmed when a mini press conference was held, and this was announced by the National Director of Indonesia. Now, the next day, December 16, because the announcement came the evening of December 16, but December 16, around morning time, around the afternoon, we started reading articles on the web stating that some of the staff members as well as the candidates tested positive, and it became a crazy figure because at first it was just Indonesia, and then India, and then Malaysia already made an announcement that their representative also tested positive. But when the reports started coming in, when the articles started to be published, then we realized 17, but we still don't know who's talking. We still don't know the actual number. So when we started to learn that 17 people tested positive, we sort of figured out maybe this isn't going to push through. At around the time that these articles were being written, at around the time that these articles were being published, the ladies were of course already in rehearsals. And if this is true, if what I read in one of the comments is true, that one of the candidates who tested positive even went through a full day of rehearsal, so you could just imagine how contagious that got. But of course, by now, they're being very mum about the situation, and the best way to go about this is to really make an official statement. Now, here are the realizations though, because now all eyes are on Tracy. Now, at first, we didn't have any confirmation if she was part of the 17 who tested positive, but later on we started hearing news that she's actually okay and that she is set to compete at the final, supposedly within a couple of hours from now. But on the evening of December 16, I think they had to announce the postponement of the finals, and it just seemed pretty bizarre on how this was worded, because they mentioned that the postponement will take effect, but that the reschedule of the final show will be within 90 days, and that they have to go back to Puerto Rico for that. They already have a venue for it, so they will decide within 90 days, but definitely it will happen in Puerto Rico. Of course, this one is unfortunate, but let me just throw it out there just to lighten the mood. Our very own Tracy is already a veteran of having the pageant postponed and then rescheduled, and then having the pageant postponed a few days, a day after, or even a few hours before the actual show. So I think that this is something that she can definitely ace. But on a more serious note, apparently what happened after the official announcement was that the organization gave back the passports to the ladies, and some of them, just couldn't even wait for a full 24 hours and headed to the airport and flew back home. And this was Miss Belgium. The likes of Miss Paraguay took to social media and aired out her grievances. I'm afraid I don't have the translation for you, but when I checked on the comment section, it seemed that she was giving an account of their situation there in Puerto Rico, and how some of the ladies are already in quarantine, but some are already thinking of resigning because they can no longer afford to go back to Puerto Rico within that 90-day period and compete again, knowing that they have already spent so much with their preparations, they've already spent so much with airfare as well, and I suppose daily living expenses. But I mean, I don't know what they were thinking when they also announced that the ladies will be back in Puerto Rico. So here are my like observations on the actual show now that, I mean, the actual pre-pageant activities, now that we are scrutinizing this a little more. I feel, number one, that this is too long, because there were so many. I think there were like 98 or 97 of them. So yeah, I mean, I understand they have to batch the ladies and they can't do this all in one go, but it's just too long. I mean, pageants are supposed to be like, what, a little over 2 weeks, and if you're being modest about it, just like Miss Universe, they went on for like, what, 10 days, the last edition, last edition. And I think because they had activities designed for the ladies that, you know, seem to show that life is heading on to a more normal state, that they became complacent. I don't know if this is the fault of the management. I don't know if this is also the fault of the ones overseeing the event in Puerto Rico, like the ones who have medical knowledge, the ones who have knowledge of the spread of the virus, or their own version of IATF there. But yeah, I suppose this should have been monitored, and I think that health protocols should have been more, you know, observed, strongly observed, because although there were, you know, captured moments of their wearing their masks, it just seemed like it was a party atmosphere over there, that they let down their guard and that they completely forgot that the pandemic is still within us. And yeah, I would also note that there seems to be poor isolation arrangements, because like what I mentioned earlier, when the girls arrived, I think they just freshened up, maybe rested for a bit, and then, you know, went on to the activities of the day or the next day. So there wasn't an isolation arrangement of sorts going on. So I also felt that there were way too many activities. Now, of course, this is Miss World. I'm accustomed to this. They really have way too many activities. It's also one of the reasons why I lost interest covering it, because I really couldn't understand the mechanics anyway. But, you know, for this year, could they just have dropped some of these activities and went virtual, like maybe with the head-to-head challenge? But no, they had to complete with, you know, they had to complete everything. They had to have like the sports event and the fashion shows and things like that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sure they consider this now, but they could have really simplified everything. They didn't really have to go the extra mile. I mean, so moving on, let's just hope the girls arrive safely back home, and those who are still recovering or in quarantine, I hope that they test negative so that they can go back home and, you know, clear their heads, because this has been a bizarre experience. To postpone a national pageant, I would understand that. But if you already flew in like maybe more than 90 girls and, you know, gave them accommodations for almost a month and, you know, gave them like individual vacation-like experience, yeah, seemed like a waste. So there you go, guys. I don't have any updates on Tracy yet, but I'm sure that she will be sent home, and we cannot wait to see her back home. And let's see. She just reached 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I know that she can do this. I know that the next 90 days will just be nothing. Maybe this is some sort of a recharge for her. But whatever they decide, I hope that this is going to be for the benefit of the ladies, because they've already gone through so much. So for now, I think there are rumors that even Miss Morley as well as Tony Ann Singh tested positive. So let's just pray for them, and let's just hope that, yeah, they come up with something really fast. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.
Rain.